and welcome to the Two Robbies podcast, your destination for in-depth discussion and analysis of the Premier League. I'm Robbie Mustoe, this is Robbie Earle, and of course this is a very special podcast, a Nashville special. Of course we're away on our FanFest, our 10th FanFest this season, and just a few numbers for you. FanFest, the attendance, Saturday, nearly 9,000 people is a one-day record, and the total of 15,624 people is the highest ever two-day attendance. So we'll get to the big games. And there's a few.
Yeah, we've got a few fans staying with us as well.
Very nice of them. But let's start with Nashville.
Let's start with Nashville, because this is my first visit to Nashville. We had a Premier League concert on Friday night. I met a couple of local Nashville people, and I said, what can I expect? And they said, this is a bit like Nash Vegas. Yeah. It'll be lively. Yeah. And they said, they will kill us with kindness. Let me tell you, I've been killed, because this town has been really kind.
It just took me by huge surprise, first time here as well. I just couldn't get over the energy and the amount of people. This is just a regular weekend in Nashville. Yeah. I mean, there's so many parties and the bachelorette parties and the little bikes going around and so many pubs and clubs. And the music, of course, is the biggest surprise to me, given that you walk down Broadway, oh, there's a pub, there's music, oh, there's a band playing. Again and again and again and again, on different levels in different buildings. So that side of things is impressed me, but also the actual FanFest and the people and the fans.
Absolutely.
I feel like...
bigger, better, continues.
I just think that, yeah, it's such a nice experience for us to come to these cities and see how Americans have embraced the Premier League, and it's a newness, there's an enthusiasm and excitement about the fans that we love. There's no animosity, there's no nastiness, and it was evident here again. Yeah. So it was really good, really, really great.
Great representation of Nashville. Yeah. Let's get to the football, my friend, because it was a big weekend, and the big three teams all played now who are vying for this title. Let's start with the early game. Crystal Palace v Manchester City now. Sellers Place Park can be a difficult place to go, especially when Crystal Palace go 1-0 up after a couple of minutes with Mateta getting the goal. Yeah. Well, you talked about something, Rob, and I want you to explain where you said, when Man City get in trouble, they can find a way to go through gears.
Yeah, and I almost feel like this game and others, and other of those big three teams that, I mean, I don't know if this is maybe over the top, Rob, but it's almost like the first half of games, they don't really come to play. They'll see what happens, and maybe they'll go ahead. Oftentimes they concede the first goal at Man City, and second half, the second 45 minutes is when they really come to play. As if I'm sure they're not changing their kind of mentality for 45-minute games, but the second half of games, you're right, there's a noticeable increase in speed of the feet of the players, the ball moving, and just the desire and the intensity to get back in the game, and they've got the quality to do it.
But when you say that, is that Pep Guardiola at half-time getting into his players and saying, or do you think the group kind of polices itself? Does Rodri and De Bruyne and people like that get it? I get the sense at times that it's Pep who reminds them of who they are and what they're trying to achieve.
Do you think Pep's upset at these half-times?
Yeah, I do. And I think that's why we see people go out and we see a whole different attitude, Rob. See people trying a little bit harder, putting a little bit more speed. Their passing picks up.
Yeah, and the big players step up. Earle Haaland scores a goal. Kevin De Bruyne all of a sudden plays with more intensity, gets in behind, scores, creates a goal. And they then show us, and then we have this kind of comparison that we make with the other big sides that are there. And we're trying to kind of gauge how they look for the title. And what fettle they're in and how fit they are. They're pretty much, they haven't got many injuries, as they rarely do. Just before we move on from them, anything different in your thought when you see this game and the ability to win games easily? I feel like the teams that win games easiest are the best teams. We'll get on to Liverpool. Oh, how that went on. But again, anything different in terms of how you feel about City? I know you've always gone for them.
I like the goal for Haaland, because I think he's going to be important in the last 7 games. I like that Pep can change things at half-time, and I believe at the start of the season Manchester will win it. I still believe they'll do it this time.
Yeah, we'll move on to Arsenal, and just in terms of predictions...
Arsenal fans still hanging around?
Yeah. I think it's funny with predictions, which is sometimes the hardest thing we have to do. Yeah. I'm pretty sure on day one, when the season kicks off, I went for Arsenal to win the title. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry what's about to come next, but... After the January window and the players that were signed and not signed by all of the big clubs, I changed to Man City given who they signed, and I'm gonna stick with that. But it's going to be close, isn't it? I think it's going to be close. And the Arsenal game, the 3-0 performance at Brighton, when last Sunday Liverpool struggled to beat Brighton 2-1 at Anfield. Arsenal made it look easy.
Right now, the best balanced team in the Premier League is Arsenal. They have the best attack in scoring goals. Defensively, they've got the best defensive record, 14 clean sheets. When you watch with your eyes of what Arsenal do, the opposition get very, very few looks at goal. Gabriel and Saliba are the best centre-back.
They're fired up.
Best centre-back partnership in the league. Right now, if they'd had experience, if they'd had a couple of Premier League titles already, I think you'd be saying Arsenal do it again. It's because they haven't done it, Rob, in 20 years. There's a reason why we keep on going there.
And that's
maybe not.
I totally agree with everything you just said. And the numbers say at the top of the league, the goal difference. And I remember some football scientists saying that, I've said this to you many times, goal difference is actually a better indicator of the quality of a team. Goal difference, because you play everybody else and who scored most against certain, etc., etc. Arsenal's goal difference is way above. So that would be a good indicator for them, a very good indicator. But there is still a piece of me that doesn't know.
What, doesn't know what?
Well, it doesn't know it can cross the line. Doesn't know when the defining moments come, because of last year's kind of memories and history, that when those moments come, they're ready to take it. You know, and I'm annoyed with some people, and I have been annoyed with last year, that there was a big thing in the English media about Arsenal being bottlers, and they bottled it. I don't think they were quite ready. The squad wasn't quite good enough. They weren't quite ready to win it. They fell away.
So do you think they're ready this time?
Well, they look ready. But we won't know it until in the last 4 or 5 games, when those moments come and they're behind, maybe they need a goal in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Can they do it or can they not do it? And I think that's what's going to be fascinating, and we won't know until that happens.
2 people, I think, give me the reason that they can do it. One is the manager. I think he's learnt from last year. I think he's more in control of his own emotions, and he looks like he's enjoying it. And Declan Rice is a difference maker to that football club. Declan Rice has brought a security and a personality and a never-say-die attitude that will help Arsenal go over the line.
Before we move on, you know who scored again today? Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz scored again today.
My Kai Havertz.
Listen,
is it my Kai Havertz?
And I don't mind bringing it up because I was always never sure this was the right move. And he might be the man. He might be the man to make the difference, score the goals when they look to need these important moments. He scored again. Arsenal were excellent. Were really, really good against Brighton.
So the first 2 in the race win their matches on Saturday. We get a huge game on Sunday at Old Trafford. Manchester United beat Liverpool. The Manchester United team, Rob, that just come off the back of a poor result against Chelsea. Liverpool team scoring for fun with an attack. I think we all felt this is pretty easy Liverpool's straightforward win.
It wasn't, was it?
No, not at all.
It always amazes me, this game, and whenever you think you got a good sense or gut feeling about a game, you're often wrong. And you've got to credit to Man United, and you gave credit to Erik ten Hag on our show, Rob, about how the team kind of fight. And to be fair, I said at half-time, there's only 1-0 down. This team's come from behind many, many times before. It was a brilliant game of football, wildly entertaining. The technical, analytical part of me saying, was it really great? You had a mistake. You had the lunge at the end there. You know, the marking for the first goal with the volley from inside the box and the set piece on Luis Diaz there. But it was great entertainment and fair play to both teams. I talked about Kobbie Mainoo and his goal, the real bit of quality in the game. Let me ask you a question. I think a game like that, we've seen lots of those in Man United. That's not a typical game for Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp. So the way that Erik ten Hag sets up his team, it invites that crazy end-to-end. I mean, dare I say it, like a schoolboy, a kid's playground where we all rush forward and try and score, and then they all rush the other way and try and score. Was Liverpool invited into that, and should have they known better and take that risk?
Well, possibly, but I thought it was one of them games where Liverpool, I think, had 15 shots in the first half, Rob. Yeah. It was a day when I didn't think the attacking players from Liverpool played particularly well. I didn't think Mo Salah was on his game. I thought Nunez was on one of those where, and Luis Diaz gets a goal. But Liverpool's strength and Liverpool's kind of point of difference is when they're at it, that front 3 are going to score goals. They're going to score a ton of goals and they're going to outscore people. Today, Rob, they were off. And if they're just a little bit off that front 3, something's going to hurt for them.
An interesting quote that we got handed after the game, Jurgen Klopp. We didn't have time to run the interviews afterwards, and he's saying, he's asked here about Manchester United when they play Arsenal at Old Trafford next May the 11th. It's Man United versus Arsenal, and he basically said, probably if we're still around, then of course it'd be great if Man United can beat Arsenal. But Arsenal is a good football team. If they, Man United, play like they did today, Arsenal will win the game. I'm 100% sure of that. So in that, he's basically saying that Man United, they were kind of open. And if they're open like that against Arsenal, Arsenal win the...
Arsenal got a better balance.
And they might not allow that craziness to happen. Yeah. And the lack of any midfield, it just went from end to end. So you don't think Arsenal let that happen?
No. And all of a sudden, Rob, it becomes advantage Arsenal. I mean, it was advantage Liverpool at this weekend. They were 2 points clear, and we said if they win out, it's their title. We have to say the same now as Arsenal.
It's so tight, Rob. It's so tight.
7 games to go. If they win out...
It's 1 point. Yeah, if they win out. They win out.
So we've got to go 7 games. They've got to get 21 points, which would be 9.
They got Tottenham. They got their bitter rivals, Tottenham. Is that away from home? I think Arsenal.
First to play. I think.
So I feel like they've got a tougher run in than Man City, no question. And the last thing I think, and it's my little favourite, and nobody else believes me, but I do think the Champions League games for these 2 top teams at the moment, that could have an impact, Rob. And why does nobody agree? I mean, we've seen teams after Champions League struggle, they're tired, they've travelled, they've had a big game against a Bayern Munich or a Real Madrid. Do you see it as a factor?
It's Arsenal's time to go for the title. 20 years
since Arsenal's time.
Since Arsene Wenger, the great Arsene Wenger. Yeah. Listen, mate, we've had a brilliant weekend. Thanks to the fans who stayed out and listened to us. What a weekend we've had where United entered the Liverpool's chance of going on to win a title. City and Arsenal both win, but the true winner has to be Nashville, mate.
Yeah, marvellous.
What a marvellous city. Hosted us, killed us with kindness. We'll be back next weekend, but for now, I'm Earle. He's Mustoe, together with the 2 Robbies. Thanks for watching and listening. Be safe, stay healthy. It's a good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good night.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock. And be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you there.